since I shot my last video. I believe it's now January the 2nd, and I've been playing around in the garage and cleaning up a bit. I threw one of my spare flywheels on the lathe yesterday and took some weight off it. I can take a lot more. I am going to need to get a different lathe tool so that I can come in from the other side. I've pretty much, well, I could do a little bit more, but anyway, we won't get into that right now. I've been cleaning up a whole bunch. I put a bunch of stuff into the attic that was up on that shelf. I covered up, people keep asking about the 650 Supercharge project. It is up there. It is all covered up now, and all together. I moved a bunch of painting supplies from there up. I've got my welding stuff here, a couple of my molds, stuff for my vacuum infusion, my pump, and then move my chamber down here. So I should be able to do a lot of that stuff just in this area. I still need to clean a bunch of stuff up, obviously. I've got some boxes here in a big mess. I was doing a little bit of sandblasting last night. I sandblasted off the the steering plate. Typical Joel luck. This is the nonsense that I deal with pretty much on a daily basis, whether it's trying to order parts for my jet ski, trying to get parts for doing carbon fiber infusion, or trying to get tools. No matter what I get, stuff always screws up. So this sandblasting cabinet has been a curse. I bought an expensive one so that it would be decent. This cost me over $1,000. And right away, the shocks broke on the door. I'm not going to get into that story, but I've been using it without that. The hinges broke after. So these things broke and it almost collapsed and fell on my head. But now I was just using it. I was sandblasting a part of my jet ski, part of the steering, and the whole thing just shut off. So I checked the fuses. I checked the outlet power. It will turn my grinder on, but it won't power this. Oh yeah. This started leaking extremely bad, and the regulator doesn't work. So I have a valve up here that I keep turned off. Watch what happens when I turn it on. This leaks really bad and it doesn't work. If I turn it all the way out, it's still at 100 PSI basically. All the way out, it's at 100 PSI. All the way in. Doesn't make a difference, and it leaks, so I have to shut it off when I'm not using it. I think I found the issue. There was a bad connection on the main power wire. Doesn't look like this connector was on very well. It just kind of fell off, I think. All right, so that is the one. It's the middle connector. I can't believe how much I paid for this pile of garbage. Those of you who don't know X2s very well won't know this anyway, but this is the part of the steering mechanism. And so I was preparing that somewhat. Came out today and started looking at this and realized that one of the reasons why it started working better at the end was because it was actually running out of fuel. So I'm going to go get some fresh fuel. I'm going to mix it properly, and then we're going to try starting this again. Also, while I was cleaning up yesterday, I ended up finding jets that I had ordered for this. So somebody a while back had told me to go to, I think it's Atlantic Jet Sports or something like that. And I had ordered I ordered a coolant water filter. I don't know what you call it. My brain is just drawing a complete blank. I ordered a flow control valve, some cooling lines, that inline filter for the coolant system. I think I ordered a throttle lever at the same time. I've got a throttle lever, a pair of ODI grips, lock-on grips, and a couple other things. And one of the things, the main reason why I made that order is because I needed the jets. So I decided to order the jets and check that company out because I've been screwed over by a few companies in the past. So I decided to order a few things from them. I had a problem. They made a mistake and shipped me the wrong line, but in a few days, they took care of it. They didn't ask for me to ship the other stuff back. They let me keep the line that they had mistakenly shipped me, and at no charge, they shipped the other stuff out, expedited it. I got it in a few days, and so now I have primer line, cooling line, and fuel line that are all the same color and look like good quality stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna run out in Megan's car, grab some fuel, and then I'm gonna try firing this thing up again and cross my fingers that it actually works, because I'm only a few days from going back to Labrador now. I'm leaving on the 7th, which is Friday, and today is Sunday. So yeah, I don't have a lot of time to mess around figuring this out if there's more problems. So I was gonna try to figure out how to run some cooling water to it, but that would mean actually welding some stuff up. I'm not gonna get into explaining that right now. Those of you who have been following along might know what I'm talking about, but anyway, I'm gonna go get some fuel. I will be right back. All right, I have returned with 10 liters of fresh premium gasoline, which smells a whole lot better than that nasty stuff that I had before. Surprising how much fuel it actually burnt trying to run for that very short while before. I guess part of that time it was running without any jets in it. This Castrol oil would probably be good. I would have no fear of using it, but what this actually is, I use this bottle for measuring. So this is actually Opti 2 oil. I got 200 milliliters, which is 50 to 1, and 10 liters of gas. So Quasar came out right after I got my fuel, so I haven't been starting the X2. I did some more work lightening a flywheel, but now I want to go in and eat, and he won't let me take him in the house. So I'm going to turn this over a couple times, and he'll probably make a run for the door, or anyway, he'll probably be more willing to go into the house. So I'm not expecting this to fire up right away because there's no fuel in the carburetors as far as I know. So all right, let's give this a try. Looks like it's pulling up some fuel. Oh. I don't know if it scared, I do know if it scared Quasar. Of course it did, but started up, started, and sounds really good. I have the idle turned so far down that it shuts off when I let go. I like that idea much more than choking it. So I'm gonna try to take Quasar in the house now and see if he'll go. All right, I'm back out in the garage, and I am thinking about starting the X2 back up, but I want to try to put some water into it to try and keep it cool. There are a couple problems with that. The main problem being that I've modified the exhaust, and so even though I have a gasket in between the head and the exhaust manifold, I don't have one between the manifold and the elbow. So if I put one in there, that would contain the water into the elbow, and I could actually cool some of that as well. Problem is, the other side of the elbow has nothing to actually seal against because there's no water jacket on the pipe, the expansion chamber. I have removed the bolts, and now hopefully you guys will be able to see what I'm talking about here. This is the expansion chamber, and it no longer has a water jacket on it. So when I move this over here, you can see there is just one piece of material, one wall there. So this contains the exhaust. And if we look here, you can see this is actually jacketed. So those holes there are what contain the water. And you can see there are some over here as well. So ordinarily this engine would feed water in through the bottom of the manifold here. the water would come up through the manifold and go into the cylinders and then out through that hole there, and also in through this elbow and out here, and there's another fitting there, and it would also go down into the expansion chamber. And yeah, there's a little hole there where it actually goes in and mixes with the exhaust flow. But I am going to try to simplify this quite a bit for my idea here. I'm going to try to feed a little bit of water into the cylinders just by going in through the bottom of the exhaust manifold. I'm going to block this off, and then I'm going to come up through the head here and just get rid of that water or recirculate it. That is the plan. I'm probably just going to use a piece of cardboard or a cereal box or something with some glue on it to try to waterproof it a bit, and just try to plug that off altogether. This is what I have so far. I've got some fittings and hoses on, and I have made a gasket to block off the ports or the water jacket in the top of the exhaust manifold. So I'm basically going to have water going in through the hose into the head, which will then go down into the jugs, into the cylinders, and it will come out through the exhaust manifold. Ordinarily, it would try to come out through here as well, but it will just come out through that hose. And what I'm probably going to end up doing is trying to fill this up as full as I can, and then jam both ends of the hose into a bucket of water, and hope that it just circulates some from convection. And I will be monitoring it as I'm running it. I'm not sure how long I'll run it. All I need to do now is clean up the exhaust a little bit so that this has some chance of sticking, and basically bolt the exhaust back in place, and then get a bucket for water and try to get some water in here. I've got a pail of water. I'm now filming with my GoPro. I'm hoping that it doesn't seize up or something because I've put my phone away. Well, it's actually not away, but I'm not recording with it. I got a little bit of water in my mouth, so that means that we've got it mostly filled with water. I'm going to try sucking through the other way now to try to get all the air out of the system. I'm going to try to start it up now. I'm going to start up the ventilation fan and open the window at the very least. I might end up with the door open, but because of all the fooling around I've done, it is currently 8:48, so I don't want to make a whole lot of noise. Gotta turn the idle up a little bit.
Okay, I would like to be able to run this for a little bit longer, so what I'm going to do is use this water pump. I'm going to hook a line to it, and it's going to hopefully pump the water into the engine and then back into this container. So it's going to come out of the pump, into the bottom of the manifold, out through the top of the head, and right back into the ocean. So I'm going to put this hose clamp on the pump and turn it on and see if it actually does what I want it to do. Alright, let's just give it a go and see how powerful this is. I have no idea. Okay. I like that.
The ventilation fan, quite honestly, is pretty useless, especially when it comes to this much smoke. The only thing I can really do is open the doors and windows and just let it blow through, because yeah, it does not move enough air. It is a furnace fan, so it moves a fair amount of air, but not enough to clear this place out. Set this to Celsius because that's what makes more sense to me. I know Fahrenheit probably makes more sense to you guys. 42 Celsius.
I'm going to try to just let it run at a high idle, let it break in a little bit and clean all that old gas out. Okay, I have to be able to get to the idle screw. .62 Celsius. I'll change it to Fahrenheit for you Americans. So that's 140, 138. The engine, 148. The exhaust got quite hot. I think the exhaust was, yeah. Anyway, I'm pleased with that. Got some nice hot water pumping through it. A good way to heat up your water.
Well, I don't know if this justifies a video, but if you guys saw it, then I guess I decided that it did. I really didn't want to leave this sitting with that nasty old fuel in there, and I really wanted to run it with some coolant through it so that I can run it for more than like 40 seconds at a time. Still didn't get to run it for that long, but now that I have the water running through it, I can start it up during the day when it's less likely to bother my neighbors, and run it for a few minutes. It was actually 1 degree Celsius, so just above freezing today. So I could have run it with the doors open, but I spent a lot of time cleaning up and doing some other things. I did do some lightening on this flywheel. I don't think I showed you guys. In a few minutes, I will remove this from the mandrel. It's actually the end of a piece of crankshaft off of an 1100. And I'll weigh this and show you guys what the original weight is compared to what it is now. I am going to do a little bit of welding. I'm not going to add filler, but I actually cut the ends of the rivets off. This was the flywheel that the Jet Ski Brothers sent me, and it had some damage from them removing it in a very creative way. It was still usable, but it was just damaged cosmetically, so I decided to cut the heads of the rivets off and I can weld them on. I'm probably going to weld this in a few places, just fusion weld, so I won't need to add any filler, which won't unbalance it or add any unnecessary weight. So it currently weighs 3 pounds, 13.8 ounces, or 1,754 grams, which I think is around 200 grams removed off of it. A little bit less than that. I was quite conservative with it. I think companies that do this remove about 315 grams. Anyway, the rivets are here, 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 and here. So I'm thinking of coming in with a large end mill, like a 3/4 end mill, and basically going like this and removing this material, because the material here isn't really doing anything except making extra weight. So if I remove all of the stuff that I colored green, it would shave off a bunch of weight and wouldn't really weaken it much. Where these typically break is right around this area. I've seen a bunch broken on in internet forums and pictures on Google Images, and that's usually where they break. So what happens is people remove a bunch of material through here, and this hub actually passes all the way through the flywheel, and yeah, it's riveted on. So the flywheel material, this outer shell, comes all the way into here, and then the hub starts at my fingernail and is this center section here, which actually goes on the crankshaft. And people machine off a bunch of this material here, and they end up getting too close to the center of the hub, and it breaks off around there. So my idea is, I've actually left it quite thick around there. My idea is to remove a bunch around here, and removing weight from the outer circumference is a lot better than removing weight from the center anyway, because this is rotating mass. The further out you go, the more energy it takes to spin. So that's my idea. The only real downside to doing it this way is that I would have to have a dependable way to balance it, because removing that much material, I just wouldn't feel right spinning it at 8,000 RPM if it was unbalanced after removing that much material. I would come in with a degree wheel and mark it all very accurately so that I came in as exact as I could with the end mill, and I would measure from the actual mounting surface to the edge and basically make sure that I came in the exact amount on all of the cuts. But even so, I would want to be able to balance these before spinning them up that high, because if one ever flew apart, I wouldn't want it to be because of something I did. So I'm gonna go in, I think, and edit this video. I am quite pleased with the way that went. I had a fairly productive day. I think I mentioned at the first of this video or somewhere along the way that I did a bunch of cleaning up and organizing. Probably doesn't look like it, it never does. But yeah, I'm happy with the progress that I'm making. I would like to get into doing a bunch more stuff on the X2, but part of the problem is that I don't have materials. I need to do some fiberglass work. And I keep thinking, oh, I could jump in and start making the top cowl thing, or I could put the reinforcements, I could start building a tank, I could start doing... Problem with all that is that it's going to take composite materials, and I'm waiting for composite materials. If I had those materials, then I'd probably be building ride plates or a skid plate. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. It is currently Sunday evening. I am leaving early Friday morning, so really Thursday evening, next Thursday. So I've got about 4 days left to play around and do stuff in my garage. With that being said, I need to go in, get cleaned up, and try to get back on Labrador time, because I think it's about 10 p.m., which is 1 a.m. Labrador time. So yeah, that is going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're all well. I'll see you next time.